Alright guys, I hope you are ready for a love fest because today I'm giving you my full review on the REEBOK FLOATRIDE ENERGY 3. So after today's run, I have put 105 miles in this shoe. Today's run was 13.2 miles or 21.24 kilometers at an average pace of 7:58 a mile, which is 4:57 a kilometer. The weather was beautiful. It ended at 71 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 21.67 Celsius. A gorgeous day, a beautiful day to take these shoes out. Now I told you it was going to be a love fest. So that kind of tells you how I feel about these shoes. Now you may have seen my first impressions video of this shoe a couple months ago, where I kind of went for my first run and then just told you how I felt. Well, this relationship has blossomed over time, and I'm just going to go right out there at the beginning of this video and tell you that I think this shoe is a contender for the best of 2021. I know what you're thinking. Whoa, Matt, that's high praise. Guys, this is a $100 shoe. In a world where $150, $160, up to $275 shoes are becoming the norm, $100 really hits the spot. And to say this is worth every penny is an understatement. If you could only have one shoe, this would be the shoe for you. I've already started gushing way too early in the video, so perhaps this is your first time hearing about the FLOATRIDE ENERGY 3. Let me give you some stats. It has a breathable square knit upper. Now it's a little more synthetic feeling than other uppers, but I found that just creates a good temperature regulation. Now I'm running in Florida, so sometimes things can get a little steamy. I didn't find that my feet were overheating in this shoe, and because it's kind of a synthetic kind of plastic feeling upper, it was difficult to soak it with sweat and for it to gain a lot of weight. Now I don't want you to think that a synthetic upper is a big drawback. This is incredibly comfortable. There is a fairly roomy toe box. There is a good lockdown across the laces, across the top of your foot, which is arguably the most important part of a shoe. The tongue is, well, medium in thickness. It's not crazy thick padded, but it's not one of those super thin tongues. The tongue is gusseted, so it doesn't slide around, and that helps contribute to that lockdown across the top of your foot. The heel collar is padded, but not too much so. The heel counter is rigid, and we've got this lovely heel flare, which helps take pressure off your Achilles tendon. Reebok is using the same midsole as they did in the Forever FLOATRIDE ENERGY 2, the previous iteration of this shoe, and it's their FLOATRIDE ENERGY foam. That is a TPE foam, a thermoplastic elastomer beads. They're just kind of heated up and molded together to make this midsole. It is relatively lightweight, and it is deceivingly responsive. Okay, let me just stop right here and say that if you like this shoe, or if you like that I like this shoe, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It is really the best way that you can support this channel. I would find myself reaching for this shoe more often than pretty much any of my other shoes. Reebok does report this shoe as weighing 8.5 ounces. Now in my size, men's size 12, UK men's 11, it comes in at 10.8 ounces or 307 grams. That brings me to the next point. You heard me say men's size 12. Usually in all other brands, except for Hoka, I am men's size 13 in the US, 12 in the UK. I had to go down a whole size. Now, just doing a little research, I found that that's pretty common. Maybe not going down a whole size, but at least half a size. If you can't get to a specialized running shop, I want you to order 3 pairs of these. Check the return policy before you order so many pairs. I want you to order your size, a half size down, and a full size down, so you can try on all 3 and decide which size fits your foot the best. So over the last 105 miles, I've used this shoe for all kinds of runs. Today was 13.2 miles. That could be the longest that I've actually run in this shoe, but I know from how I felt at the end of my 13.2 miles, I'd go so far as to say this. If you wanted one shoe to do everything, you could run a marathon in this. It's light enough, it's responsive enough, and it's cushioned enough to stand up to that kind of pounding. But get this, I also ran a 5K time trial. I'll link to that video up here. And it was an unplanned time trial, so I didn't wear lighter shoes that I may have if I'd actually planned it. I wore these. And these shoes performed exceedingly well on that time trial. I ended up running an 18:40, which for me is actually a pretty good time. And I gotta give some of the credit to these shoes, especially the color. This orange. This orange just makes me run fast. But that was an exception. I usually run most of my miles at a fairly easy pace, and this shoe does it all. There is a carbon rubber outsole, and the carbon rubber goes from toe to heel. Now, what does that mean, really? Well, it means it's gonna stand up to a lot of miles. This shoe is going to be resilient. And looking at the outsole, after 105 miles, there's obviously some wear, but I've had shoes where it is a lot worse. This is actually pretty impressive. Now you can see on the outside of my right foot, there is a little bit of wear where I'm heel striking. And I do find that I heel strike mostly when I'm running slow, which is the majority of my runs. However, when I pick up the pace, especially when I was doing that time trial, I definitely moved to my mid to forefoot, and the wear there is minimal to say the least. So to make my mileage prediction, I can also use what I learned running in the Forever FLOATRIDE ENERGY 2s. I put 500 miles in that shoe. This is is definitely a 500-mile shoe. I just wish I was more articulate to tell you how this shoe feels, but it's difficult to say because this shoe removes any thoughts about your shoe. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to think about, am I putting the right shoe on for a particular workout? Can I run long in this shoe? Are there any hot spots that I have to worry about? In my first impressions video, I did say that I felt something on my little toe on the outside, and you know what? On today's run, I did notice something for a second, but I was hyper aware of how these shoes were feeling the whole time. I've had other shoes where it was near impossible to run in them because of that pressure there. I didn't find it in this case. Okay, let's just talk about laces for 1 second. So, today I ran 13.2 miles. I haven't had any trouble with laces for the past 92 miles. So what I'm saying is I didn't have any problem with my laces until today. Today, funnily enough, both shoes came untied once on my run. Now, if that had been something that had been going on for the whole time, it might be something to worry about. I think, especially because both shoes came untied on the same run, that it was user error. I might have been tired, I might not have been paying attention when I was tying my shoes, but I'm gonna put it down to that. These kind of linguini flat laces, they do a pretty good job. So some of the stuff that I review on this channel, I am just reviewing for you to know about it. Some of the stuff I like to recommend. The Forever Energy 3 is something that I definitely recommend. I want you to pick up a pair today. I promise you will not be disappointed, especially because you're only paying $100 for these shoes. I am gonna link to it in the show notes below on Amazon. It is my affiliate link. If you buy it through that, you don't pay any more, but it does give me a little kickback, which just helps support the channel. Guys, thanks for staying all the way to the end of the video. New running videos at least twice a week. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple days.